about that naming scheme, because you said it says MPI. Clicked your stream and it was MPI. Where or what title is this? Is this like on Africa? I'm actually not sure, because my stream title tells me I've got it fully written out as Mu Pro League, like not even MPI. It's just like written out as Mu Pro League. So let's see if I can figure out what's saying MPI and where I need to change that. I'm not sure. Maybe over here? I'm not sure. If Cadenzi comes back, you can let me know. What I should start doing is just building in like random amounts of time and just like let the video run at the end, so that the lengths of the video, like the entire set, is unpredictable. Because of course the downside is if you split it by VODs or by individual games, then each individual game is like a spoiler. So like, you know, if it's Effort versus Sharp and you look at the game afterwards and it's 8 minutes, well, you know, it was an 8 minute, you know it's gonna be something short, right? So there's like, it's kind of a lose-lose either way. But if you just made the whole thing and then just like randomly let it run for half an hour every time or something. What am I munching on? I can show you guys. Nothing good. Nothing good. Unhealthy shit. Shit I shouldn't eat. It's bad. It's bad. It's also very what's the word? It's also very necessary when it's 4:58 in the morning. This guy was rocking his dance moves. That was a very short commercial. Wow.
왜냐하면 빨리 경기 보고 싶으니까요. 멋있네요. 아니 쉰다고 광고 본다더니 한 20초거든요 와요. 자, 신한금융투자에서 지원해주는 우리 신한금융투자 LPL 시즌2 많은 관심과 사랑을 해주셔서 너무 감사드리고, 일단은 개막전 이후에 일요일 펼쳐지는 이 두 번째 경기, 첫 번째 경기부터 대박 매치가 나오면서 정말 기대가 많이 됩니다. 놀랍네요. 그러니까 보이다 못해 와 어떻게 이렇게 만들어서 소위 전문용어를 썩어버렸어요. 이게 최고의 극찬이에요. 네네네. 그렇죠. 그냥 그걸 못 빼내거든요, 극찬이에요. 네, 그런 것처럼 저는 이런
Popcorn. Popcorn's pretty good stuff, man. Although it's not as tasty, I honestly really like making like air pop popcorn, and maybe even like I'll just do air pop for like health, and then just a little bit of just like spray oil and then a bit of salt so it'll stick and you can get some salt on it. It's pretty good and it's really healthy. And then of course when you need your delicious popcorn, then you can just butter it up. But like popcorn's actually kind of high in like, I want to say it's antioxidants and stuff like that. It's surprisingly good. I think we're about to go into game 2.
AfreecaTV, Darin. Round 2.
All right, so we're going into game number 2. Because they always tease us with the spawns, I will wait and see. I believe, actually this time they're doing first. So in the bottom right hand corner, as our orange Protoss, we have GGoni, and if that pronunciation is wrong, please correct me. And in the top left hand corner, we have Cadenzi's nemesis, we have Africa's Darin. Darin is, I believe, one of the 3 strongest female, I'm going to call them female pro gamers out there right now. She, Aegong, and Cadenzi are kind of at the top. Cadenzi, because of former results, is definitely holding on to that top spot. But I know she has mentioned and feels pressured by both Darin and Aegong to hold on to her positioning. Darin in particular seems to be intimidating, especially due to the fact that Darin is a Terran, and a Terran that is good at TVZ nonetheless. Get some of that sweet Segi action. I would love to know these stats and what they're showing. I mean, the map stats are pretty self-explanatory. We see that Goni is 2-1 against Terran, but of course there's a lot more variance in the caliber of skill of the female players, so that 2-1 doesn't tell us a whole lot. But her overall win rates are pretty poor, and I think that bottom one is probably, yeah, her opponent. So she's got a 19% win rate against Darin, which tells you something about who is marginally favored in this matchup. I mean, let me remind you guys, Flash had a 70% win rate in his matchups. The only matchup he was close to 80% in was TVT, where he was like 76% or so. And think of how dominant Flash is known for being in TVT, and then add another 5-6% to that, and that gives you an idea about where the favorabilities of its matchup lie. Alright, so we have Darin sending out her scouting SCV here after barracks. That looks pretty normal, and Protoss is coming down here. We got 14 supply, but we do have what appears to be a gateway, and a gas in the main, and a core. And she is making a pylon here, so a bit of a hidden pylon. So when Darin walks in, her SCV won't path and won't naturally see that pylon hidden back there. So she'll come in and she's going to see the missing pylon and have a bit of a heart attack. She's going to be like, oh my god, what is happening? What is happening? What are you up to? And then we'll see how she responds. She might go back and take a second look, natural or close by, but she might just be like, uh-oh, I feel a proxy, and then play extra defensively, and then perhaps Goni plays greedily or something to take advantage of that. Alright, so that is a factory going up there at whatever. We have, 2 off gas, so it looks like we are going to see an FD here from Darin. Just our typical tank, 5 or 6 Marines, Vulture Mines, expand, and move on into the mid-game. And it looks like we should have a Dragoon at some point here from Goni. There we go. Dragoon is out. So Darin comes in, is going to miss seeing a pylon. That is what the commentator's showing. So like, there's only one pylon. Oh, that SCV is trapped, right? Oh, mistake by Darin to run behind there. So that SCV is going to be sniped, assassinated, dead, killed. Oh, but the probe gets killed off. I personally hate when that happens. I really like being able to keep my probe near the front and see if Terran moves out. It's a little comforting, a little more comforting to know what's going on. Oh, we're even getting some first-person view streaming from home. So the SCV is being put back on gas, and here comes the command center. Pretty crisp on that command center, actually. That's a little bit different than what we normally see for an FD, where you wouldn't expand until you have your tank and, of course, that first Vulture coming, and then you'd expand behind that. But this is just, nah, I've got my tech on the way. I got 3 Marines. I see 1 gate. I feel good. Oh, the mineral slide! Darin gets in with the mineral slide. Previously, that was pretty smart, and it paid off, but she doesn't really see much. She does see a spinning core, though. And the fact that the core is spinning at this point in time, well, I guess there's still all the possibility. There's still the possibility that Goni could have mind gamed her, knowing the SCV was coming in, click the core right as it comes in to keep it spinning. But I don't think that is the way she has played it. And I think Darin is probably getting reasonably comfortable. She does have a bunker at the front, but that's necessary anyway because she's kind of delayed her tank for this command center. This is a really interesting build. I've seen some more Terrans doing it recently. I've been playing against it on ladder, but it's kind of a hybrid between rack CC and like standard FD. Needs to be a little careful with this tank though. Now with the bunker there, not too difficult to keep it alive, but don't want to get careless and lose an initial tank, because the second you start losing a tank or two, you just lose all your options. I mean, like if you're a Protoss and you kill Terran's first tank or two, you feel great. You know there's nothing Terran can do. I mean, they don't have any tanks. They're not going to walk across the map and hurt you, so you're just able to play the whole game very relaxed, very comfortable. But that doesn't end up being an issue. And of course, losing a tank to a single Dragoon would be a very rough micro fail. And we are getting an OBS, still off of 1 gate. Oh, so 1 gate, OBS, double Expo. So that's on the greedier side here for Gonin. And luckily for her, Darin is not playing Fact CC Fact or has not done any I'm going to skip eBay or anything like that build. But we do see a pretty fast armory, so that pretty much right there says Darin is looking to just grab a third and macro up all the way to 2-1 at the very least. So the question will be, how fast does she get her third? Because this is obviously a very quick third from Goni. This third was taken in a 30-something supply, which is extremely fast. Taking off 3 or 4 Dragoons. You know, if she's just able to macro up from here, she'll max 11:30 to 12 minutes. Which, you know, compared to a normal Terran max at about 14 or 15, that will give her plenty of time to take extra bases, load up on gateways, get all the sweet stuff going on. That is a very fast starport, though. So going quickly to her vessels, she's actually going to have vessels way before Arbiters come out here for Goni, who's still sitting on 4 Dragoons. Does have a little pylon wall there at that third base to hold out the Vultures. So it will be interesting to see if Darin, given that there isn't like a super fast Arbiter coming out, if Darin does decide to make a dropship in this starport, or if this is purely just going to be tech to Arbiters and getting those grades out. Oh wow, so Darin doesn't, despite the comp stats, Darin doesn't seem to have a comfortable feel here for what Goni is doing, because, I mean, Goni's on just a couple gates. She double nexted off of 1 gate Ro8. I don't feel like Darin absolutely needs to build the CC in the main base. She could just build it on the low ground. She should have, you know, 4 or 5 tanks out now, which, well placed, could easily take care of those 5 or 6 goons that are sitting in the base for Goni. But Goni is moving out on the map, and with almost all of her Dragoons... Oh, she's going to finish her pylon wall. I actually thought that was complete. It was not complete. And a Vulture sneaking around, but the pylon wall will be done in time for that. And it looks like that Goni is going to go put some pressure on where that third base would be. But of course, no third base would be there. But Darin now obviously 100% aware. Oh, is she trying to jump the Vulture over the pylons with the mine? Could just be she was laying a mine. No, I think she wants to jump the Vulture. Yeah, they're getting hyped, but she's not going to get it. That's a pretty tricky jump to get. She's going to try one more time. Trying to get the mine. No, she doesn't lay a mine that time. Nope. Nope. Tough jump to get. Would have been really nice for her if she could have gotten it. For obvious reasons. 3 more gateways going up. Getting a shuttle out. Alright, so now this is going to get a bit interesting. How many facts are we still on 2 factories? We are still, it looks like we're still on 2 factories here. That's a pretty low count. It's a pretty tank-heavy army here, too, from Darin. And against a very tank-heavy army, a drop, Zealot drop on that is extremely strong. And okay, well, the Vulture's going to hit a Dragoon shot there. That is pretty nice because Darin, you can see, adjust the dropship very quickly in that. And whoa, Darin needs to get some tanks over here or something. This is borderline snipeable what she's doing here. Has Darin overextended with his command center? I think she has. A major blunder from Darin as she suicides the CC. Terrible mistake there. She even knew the Dragoons were there, and now the tanks are on siege. Darin appears to be falling apart here. Zealots to be bombed. Is Darin just going to get run over right now? I don't know what just happened there, but those are some huge blunders. 4 Zealots being dropped on this tank. Dragoons are marching into natural. They're just killing off random buildings there rather than going the tanks. Now there's too much defense there. Goni needs to cut her losses, or rather enjoy her damage and just back on up from there. Now the dropship is moving out across the map, but wow, good placement of the units. If there is attention being paid for Goni, this dropship will be spotted, but in time to get over here, no. So the probes need to run right about now. We have a tank sieging up. Alright, so this is some good counter damage. Now if all these probes die, that's not too bad for Darin, but the loss of that CC is going to be felt hard there. Alright, so some mines being laid here behind the minerals, and Goni a little slow to react to this. Trying to trap the Vulture with the probes, maybe? No, actually these probes are just being main-erded. So the Vulture now runs into the main, where it's possible those are some cannons, or at least a cannon building. Oh my god, the Vulture's actually not attacking. The Vulture was just sitting there in the minerals, like, hanging out with the probes. Looks like one of those is definitely not a cannon, as we saw it morphing into a pylon. The other one we don't know about. So Darin is looking for some counter damage. The supplies are closer than you'd expect, but she will be feeling the loss of that third base. However, this is a lot of disruption to the Protoss economy. I mean, the probes were run from the third base. The third base actually took a lot of damage, almost enough that Darin can consider coming back with the dropship later to try and find it. It looks like +1 attack is done. We see it is spinning, so she is on the way to her second attack upgrade and probably a single armor upgrade as well. Fourth base goes up rather for GGoni here, and third base now being floated out. It will land for Darin. So Darin did get some nice disruption, not a ton of probe kills, but wow, GGoni having a bit of a moment there. She obviously clicked back into her base. Those probes, we saw the way they were going up the ramp, they were not on a mineral click to walk through everything on their way back. So they're just going to be hanging out there for a while, and that's a lot of economy to have not mining. We'll have to see how long it takes her to find him. And now GGoni moving up here onto the high ground. Now, is there a shuttle with this army? If not, the vultures should be able to scramble back into position, but with a oh, this army is big. I'm a little worried here for Darin. There's not many vultures, and the vultures that are well, they're on the bottom portion of the map here, so the zealots are immediately on top of the tanks. This third base, at the very least, is going to have to lift, or it's just going to die. Zealots are going to murder the tanks. The vultures are going to break into the third base, though, of GGoni, so we're going to have a bit of tit for tat here, but losing the third base as Terran and all your tanks, like, yeah, it's nice to get those kills on Protoss, but these losses are significant, and look how many zealots are still alive, how many SCVs have gone down. Darin is taking some crippling losses, although if these vultures come into the main and kill everything, then I don't know. This game is getting flipped on its head. I would say this is still very good for GGoni. She should be able to stabilize, but she is getting a pretty damn nice SCV trap here. Vultures just need to go to town on these probes. She needs to get those tanks sieged up at the top. There are reinforcements being rallied in for Protoss. Can she hold her ramp? A lot of vultures there. Looks like she can, so it's all about vulture kills on the probes now. If Darin can kill off the vast majority of the probes, she can stabilize and be in an okay position, and honestly, it looks like she is doing that right now. Now, there is still a fully saturated base of probe. Darin is going to hold this attack, but she is bleeding SCVs as she does it, but the zealots are out. There's still 3 high ground tanks. That is definitely enough to hold. She'll have to keep defending for a little while, but that tank count is going to accrue. The vultures will pick off the zealots pretty easily at the ramp, and vultures still rampaging here in the base. And look at this game stabilizing on even supplies. An incredibly crazy trade, but the thing that worries me here, well, she's actually going to lose this Nexus, it looks like, but the thing that worries me is the fact that Protoss has... I didn't actually realize that CC didn't die, though. I assumed the CC died. It did not die. So that's going to help Darin out. I was going to say the big issue here is that Protoss has 4 Nexuses. That's a lot of probe rebuilding ability. Oh my gosh, 42 damage, 37 damage. Got to come back for that. Oh, Micro the Vulture, no! Oh wow, okay, so the CC almost dies. Again, Darin a bit slow on that CC, and now stabilizing out. This should be okay, and by okay, I mean, I feel like this is going to be good for GGoni, because she still has that 3rd Nexus for the moment, although a Vulture's still in there getting a few probe kills. She still has that 3rd Nexus, 4th Nexus rather, so she can 4x produce probes, and that was a very saturated 4th base for GGoni, if you guys were paying attention there. That was probably 20 probes stacked up there. Oh, Darin just... I don't know. Darin just really does not seem to be here today. I don't know if this is nerves or what. It's really surprising, too, because she is playing from home against a player that she is used to just, you know, trashing around and spanking around. I mean, this is... When you look at the win rates, this is very much... an upset that we are watching here for GGoni to be in a comfortable position against Darin. Now, Darin is the superior player, so if Darin can stabilize, get out of max army, do some stuff. Vulture wants the assassination, she needs more. It's so close, but it's not dead. Interestingly, though, GGoni has not sent any probes back there yet. I don't know if that's a probe transfer happening right there. I can't tell. No, it doesn't appear to be. It looks to be some zealots. Something just ate a mine for GGoni there on the minimap. And let's see, we got a cannon going up behind the mineral line. That will clear out that mine there, so no crazy mine-to-back happening in the back of that Protoss mineral line. And GGoni has lots of Dragoons over here. She's like, you shall not pass. My Nexus will live. You will not kill it. For now, until you get a dropship. Alright, so we got a few vultures at the front. If that was 12 vultures, that would be pretty scary, but it's just 3. They can't really take on those zealots, but she does lay a few mines at the front. And now Darin moving back over, and Darin is going to try a third time to take her third. She's floated that CC a little bit too far into her base, but she wanted to get safely out of Dragoon range. So it is coming back out, and now quite a sizable tank count for Darin. So that's one thing she has going for her. We haven't panned back to the main base for a while to see where Protoss stands as far as tech, if there are Arbiters out. But remember, Darin was getting her second upgrade, so she does have a science facility. She can make vessels. We can see there is a starport. There does not appear to be an Arbiter Tribunal, and there is indeed a vessel out. So tech-wise, pretty good place for Protoss. Obviously, Goliath range is not done. We can see from the way that Goliath is behaving. Goliaths with range shoot halfway across the map. That Goliath was not shooting halfway across the map whatsoever. So here comes the sneak vulture, and it's going to kill the probe after taking a moment to think. It was like, should I kill the probe? Yeah, I'm a vulture. You're dead. That's what I do. I raid probes. So, yeah, Darin was channeling her inner sharp there, and it was a damn good thing she did, because the only reason this game is still a game is because of that. And now Darin is actually starting to outsupply Guemchi. Guemchi's taken way too long. She still hasn't gotten probes over her third base. I just don't think she's probing very hard in general. It looks like a bit of a macro slip. Oh, okay, she ate that mine, so that's always nice, softening up these shields quite a bit on those zealots. And now it's starting to stabilize into what might very well be a reasonable position for Darin. I mean, Protoss has, I'm thinking that's 7 or 8 gateways. The low factory count is probably the last thing Darin needs to bring up a little bit. We got some vultures going out here for Darin on the top part of the map. Oh my, oh, never mind. I thought that probe was legit accidentally attacking a Nexus, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. She's gonna accidentally kill her own Nexus after all of that, but no, that was just a Nexus without a rally point. Okay, so Tribunal is there, and should see an Arbiter starting here shortly. And what are the upgrades after Protoss? Come on, click that Protoss, click that Protoss. Yeah, we do have 8 gates. And now Terran going up to 8 factories, so the production is about to even out. That's very nice as Terran. You always feel reasonably comfortable when you're like, okay, I got the same production as Protoss. So when Protoss has like 50% or 100% more production than you, where you're like, this is pretty uncomfortable. This is pretty scary. If I lose my army, it's going to take me 3 minutes to remake it. If Protoss loses his army, he's going to go back to his 40 gateways, click D 20 times, click Z 20 times, and oh, hello. Alright, so the dropship is coming around. Alright, so now Darin is finally back for blood. She wants the Nexus, and she will have it because there's no goons back there to defend it. So, finally the 4th base is going to die. Click the Nexus. Click the Nexus. Thank you. Thank you. Bam! Alright. Sorry. That Nexus had to die. The fact that it had been almost dead this entire game was getting to me. Alright, so Guemchi is moving in for the, what is it, 18-minute? Oh, never mind, she's got a full army over here. Alright, so this is the case where this should go pretty well for Darin. Should be pretty easy to reposition herself, but if everything was out of position, Guemchi could have gotten a pretty favorable engagement, but with the depots, the walling, the tanks already there, nothing that Guemchi can engage. And oh, pretty big mine there on clustered Protoss units, so Guemchi is doing a pretty good job of softening up her own army for Darin. Who needs EMP when you just keep eating mines all day long? Wait, Protoss has 0 ups? Did I see that right? Because Protoss has had that forge for ages. I know she lost probes and had other things going on, but if she is really on 0 ups, 3-2 is done for Darin, and obviously that 3-3 will be on the way. But if that is no ups, please click on another Protoss unit. I need to see these upgrades. Hardest part about not being an obs. Okay, so we have a major vulture raid, although the army of Guemchi is in a reasonable position to deal with this. It does snipe off a probe here, and that's going to slip quite a few vultures behind the mineral line. Good target firing, should be able to get... Well, actually, some of these vultures appear to be low on health, so they are just going to die really fast. So yeah, those probes are going down, but well, Guemchi does not have the Dragoon close enough, so those those vultures end up getting quite a few more kills than they should have. And now we have Darin moving into the middle of the map. Pretty beefy army, about 180 supply. And the biggest concern I see for Guemchi right now is the fact that that army is gateway units. And it's not just gateway units, it's just pure slot goon. 1 arbiter. That's not very much. Okay, Protoss has 2 attack.
얼려줘야지 이길 수 있어. 뭐 그런 식으로 우리가 볼 때.
That makes more sense, because I feel like I've seen the Forge spinning, and Protoss is working on 3-1 right now, so Protoss is doing an okay job on upgrades. Like, they're not amazing, but they're not disastrous. And so 1 Arbiter out, that is a bit more concerning. That's very limited stasis, very limited stuff to work with. And, of course, remember that Darin is ahead in supply here, so I'm pretty worried for GGoni, who's going for it. Oh, those Zealots are coming in such a line. They're going to get so raped by Siege Tank Fire. The commentators already know it's not good. The army size is maybe a little small here. Vultures could be pulled back a little more. Some of those Zealots are allowed to get on top of the tanks, but GGoni way overextending here, melting her entire army. And Darin is now coming for GGoni's base, going to be running this army right over, and in the process that's going to cost at least a base for GGoni, unless Darin just makes some massive push mistake here, even getting an EMP on the Arbiter, so there's not going to be any stasis. Wait, is she reinforcing? Okay, she's moving back to her reinforcements, and then she should just keep pushing. I mean, the rule of TVP, the general rule is that if Protoss suicides this whole army, or in this case, her whole arm. I mean, you just go walk over Protoss. Very sloppy Arbiter control there from GGoni, and well, she just GG's. She knows her main is dead, and she has no army, and so it ends. Darin, well, Darin makes some pretty massive mistakes, but guys, that's 80% versus 20%. You can make those kind of mistakes and lose when you're an 80% favorite. So Darin closing it out. And of course, today is a best of 7. That's one of the things, honestly, that I have enjoyed recent. Darin is like, I had to work way too hard for that. Way too hard for that. But no, I'm happy to see best of 7s because it's nicer. It's more games. It's good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Best of 5s are alright, but for like championship games, big matches, Pro League stuff like this, best of 7's where it's at. Like when you get all hyped for like a team league and then it's best of 5 and there's like 3 10-minute one-sided games and you're like, damn, I got up at 3 in the morning for that. Whoops. Oh wait, was that GGoni? Was that GGoni on the cam? I thought that was Darin. It was like, pfft, I had to work way too hard. Well, AfreecaTV goes up 2-0. And guys, we're getting closer to effort versus sharp. My effort bias might show. So now we wait and brace ourselves to return to pro game level play. Game had its moments, but certainly not the craziest game of all time. Like, I want to say it was a nice comeback for Darin, and it kind of was, but you don't feel that, right? Because Darin didn't do anything exceptional in that game. It was just like GGoni was at an advantage, and then she didn't probe hard, she didn't macro hard, she didn't resaturate her 4th base, and so she went from an advantage to behind, if maybe not badly behind, but a little behind, and then she attacked with her Zealots way clumped up, made no effort to move, you know, rather than straight at the army, made no effort to move side to side, spread her army out, attacked straight in the line, clumped Zealots. The Zealots instantly evaporated, she didn't retreat, she just kind of threw away the game. It was a very anticlimactic ending to what had been some pretty good play from her, all things considered. 50,000 viewers watching StarCraft Brood War. Damn. Damn, that's so hype. That's so hype. Yeah, Brittany really does seem to have chemistry with people. He's got passion. I don't know about the haircut, but the passion is real, and the passion outweighs everything else.
이 선수 연습 때만 잘하는 건가 아니면 정말 본 경기 때 갔을 때도 그런 경기로 보여주는 건가 기대를 많이 할 텐데 여기서 픽업.
Then again, who am I to talk about haircuts? I haven't gotten a haircut in like a month overdue at least, so I have absolutely no right to be talking.
나쁘지 않았었거든요. 그렇죠. 여기서 이제 슬슬 이제 김정은 선수가 걱정하지마 이러면서 팀 이끌어주고 팀의 이제 코칭 템이 이거 분위기 좀 한번 띄워주면 아직 몰라요. 그렇습니다. 자 경기 준비가 또 완료가 될 텐데요. 조금 약간 힘드실 것 같은데 괜찮습니까? 왜 안전 괜찮습니까? 네. 그러면 3경기 바로 송병구 선수 대 이혜훈 선수의 경기 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다.
Oh, it's time for our next game, boys. Let's go.
Stork. AfreecaTV. Sacsri. Round 3.
That moment when you try to drown yourself mid-cast. Alright, I've recovered. So, spawning in the 9 o'clock position as the Yellow Protoss, we have from PicUP Stork, the Dinotoss, the legend. And at 5 o'clock, here on Tau Cross, as the Brown Zerg, we have Sacsri. Now, needless to say, Stork is the big name, the heavyweight. He would be the one that would be considered the odds-on, undeniable favorite. And I'm still going to give him that title because his skill in Brood War was so vast. But Stork nowadays is less of a player, more of an entertainer. Still massive good. If these are spawn match stats, these are some pretty encouraging stats for Stork. That shows that he is the favorite as one would expect. But of course, he is not really the Stork we know. One nice thing for Stork is that this is an old school map, a map that he played on for a huge portion of his career. So he will be very familiar, very comfortable with it. And of course the other thing going in Stork's favor is the fact that Sacsri is, you know, more or less a B-teamer. He has not had any deep runs in Star Leagues. He doesn't have particularly strong spawn match results. He just doesn't have anything that makes him stand out. You know, he's a journeyman. Given Stork's just overall skill and play level, you know, I mean, yeah, that gets unrefined when you don't practice, but you retain a lot of your skill. Obviously, the knowledge is still there, all that kind of stuff. So I would favor Stork, and I am curious to see if he's going to play Gate Expand here, or if he's just going to go for a Nexus, or what he's doing here. Well, he's putting a pylon here at the wall, going to choke him off, and Forge goes down. I was getting a little curious because he was all the way up to 12 supply with quite a few minerals. I was like, is he going to try to go next first? On Tau? On an open, non-ramp map? Alright, so the pool is just about done. That's really annoying here for Sacsri. He can't get out. He is blocked in there, so he can't make his hatchery until the Lings pop. And this is going to allow Stork to go for Nexus before a cannon? By throwing that pylon there, or did he put a cannon down? Okay, no, I was going to say. It's like, I'm pretty sure those Lings are going to kill a cannon, or kill the pylon pretty damn quick. And if you made a Nexus, you would still have to wait some time to build a pylon, which is just not long enough. You need to have a cannon starting down roughly when the Zerglings are finishing, or else you're just going to get run over by Zerglings before your cannon is even there. So Sacsri sends back one Ling to chase the probe around, so Stork will be able to keep his probe alive forever, unless he really noobs it up like that. Taking 3 or 4 unnecessary hits against the drone. But Stork will have his wall up. These Lings won't do anything. Can pull a probe to block if needed. Nice tight wall. Very easy to make a nice tight wall here. And Stork is going to bring a few probes out to block. Just make sure Sacsri doesn't do any sort of a run-by, sneak some Lings on the main, and be generally disruptive. Yeah, I was wondering about those spacesuits because I saw that a few teams had them in the photo shoot. So that explains the old school trend. It reminds me of the days of Garimto and Elki and those guys where they were wearing those awesome jumpsuits. But yeah, Blind was saying everybody should be wearing, or Zonk saying that everybody should be wearing the speed suits they wore back in 2001, like what Mine's team was wearing. Alright, so Stork obviously is allowed to just have this probe scatter around all day long. Looks like Sacsri has finally brought back a few lings now, and that will probably allow him to put an end to Stork's probe reasonably soon. Keeping your probe alive against one ling is like infinite time. 2 lings, it's still pretty possible. 4, it gets tricky, and 5 or 6, you need to be Bisu if you're going to keep your probe alive against 6 lings against a good Zerg for a long period of time. But yeah, this is going to be hard for Stork. Just a lot of ability to space out the lings. And eventually you usually end up getting pinned where you have to mineral walk, and that means at least a hit or 2. Yeah, Stork is very close to that point where he's going to have to mineral walk and lose the probe. And there we go. Nice chasing. Sacsri eliminates the probe, so now Stork is in the dark. But he has been in the base long enough to put up a Stargate and to see that morph on the lair, so he's going to know that there's not Hydra Bus coming his way. And Zerg probably isn't going to all-in ling him here from this point either. This is a bit later than you would usually try to all-in ling. Corsairs are going to be out. You have a lot of problems if you're just like, I'm going to spam lings right now. Alright, but just as I say that there is a Hydra down, of course that doesn't mean 3-hatch Hydra. With that fast layer, we could easily be seeing a 3-hatch Lurk build here. Now looking for a quick contain. And then ecoing up a bit behind that, or possibly going crazy with some sort of a lurker bust, but that would be certainly off the radar of typical standard play. But then again, given Sacsri versus Stork, who knows? Second gas is being taken. That would be important if he was going for lurkers. You absolutely need at least 2 gases if you're going to make any reasonable number of lurkers. And 3 is the ideal number for lurk play off of a 5 or 6 hatch. But only 3 right now for Sacsri. But Stork has that Corsair on the way. He's going to be able to map this out and get a read on it. He's getting his archives up. No points yet where he would make major deviations to this based on the way he's already opened. He's going to, of course, see these Hydra. He's going to come in. He's going to see the den. He's already seen that there's a lair morphing. He sees that there's a second gas. So he's got a pretty clear idea of what Sacsri is up to. And he'll have Storm out. He's adding a few cannons just so that Sacsri can't come up there and try to do a single bust, get that 1 cannon, and then win outright with no detection, even though Stork has more than enough to amply defend if he could actually see the lurkers. And then Stork's going to send, of course, this Corsair over here. Going to try to pick off this Overlord, but speed is done very quickly. Oh, so that's going to give Stork a little more pause. Because when you see speed done that fast, and you see lurkers coming, that immediately brings drop play in as a potential possibility. And if you get lurkers dropped in your base and you don't have obs out, they do a lot of damage. You can lose gateways at a minimum. You can have an incredibly hard time getting up your robo. You usually have to build it in your natural, in which case then the lurkers can inch their way forward into your probe line. Particularly if Zerg ferries or any more units to help get down a cannon or 2 you might have there. Now DT is out, but remember there's speed OVs. So he can chase this DT pretty comfortably here with the Zerglings. Now he can't chase the DT with the Hydras yet. No speed zone, but he gets a nice little catch there with the Zerglings, eliminating that. Now Stork is having some serious Dosair moments right here, although he does keep them alive, so I guess I'll take back up what I said a little bit. That was not a total best level Corsair right there, as he does at least get away with it. But I was going to say, suing your first 1 or 2 Corsairs is not usually worth it. I don't know why Stork is sending out these Zealots. Is he just not paying attention? I guess so. So Stork bleeds away 2 Zealots for a Hydra. Not a good trade at all for Stork. Those early units are pretty valuable in this. We have some Templar coming out. He's got 4 cannons at the front. He's adding a second pylon to avoid that notorious Artosis pylon. And the gateway is going to go ahead and fall here. So able to pick that off, not a big deal. And of course the forge has been picked off. The lurker morph starts, and this will move into a bit of a soft contain here from Sacsri. And it looks like we see some drones here. Sacsri is indeed just going to kind of eco behind this. You're just not going to have enough power off of 3 hatch to hold a contain. You can't play that way. You can play aggressive lurk, but you can't hold a contain very effectively off 3 hatch. You have to take a period and make some drones. But it works out okay because Protoss now has this large window here where Stork has to wait another 400 HP for his robo to finish, then he has to build an observatory, he has to wait for an observer to pop, and then in about 2 or 3 minutes, he can take a base. Now we'll see if there's going to be some drop harass here. You've got these, I guess pods, I don't know what you're going to call them, little high ground islands where you can drop units. So he's going to drop a Lurker over here. He's going to drop a Hydra. That's really annoying because now he makes Stork a 1-gas Protoss until the observatory is done. In fact, that's very annoying. Oh, well, actually I take that back. I forgot there was Storm. Stork can go storm this and regain access to his gas now. Sacsri is beginning to drop the main as well. This is tricky play to deal with this Protoss, especially without mass stairs. Like, if you have mass stairs and you're really on top of it, you can often shut down all of these drops. But these Lurkers are going to get all up in Stork's grill now and be really annoying. They're probably not going to do major damage, but you guys have played. You know how stressful it is when you're in your base as a Protoss and you're just hearing Lurker spine shooting everywhere and wondering what units are going on and are my probes under attack, and it's hard to stay relaxed and comfortable even if you know the Lurkers aren't going to totally ruin your day. Like, he goes forward there, tries to get a Templar. Stork almost self-kills his Templar, but does get it out of the way, so that's nice. Now, Sacsri still has this soft contain, but the Robo is done for Stork. Observatory is going to be on the way. Third gas has not started mining, but we can see Sacsri is getting up those 6 hatches. And, I mean, Stork's had to invest now a lot of money in this. He's been slowed. He's had to build 2 or 3 cannons in his natural, 4 at his front, 2 or 3 cannons in his main. So this is not a bad position from Sacsri, despite the slowness of this opening. And yeah, there is a little bit of Bisu versus Yellow Heartbreak Ridge feel, although I will say the Heartbreak Ridge game, I believe, was actually a 2-hatch Lurker drop. And played a bit more aggressively than this one. But, you know, Sacsri's done a decent job here now. You know, Stork still doesn't really have a Lurker fighting army yet. He hasn't started adding Dragoons in his comp. He's reduced Stork to being a 1-gas Protoss. And when Zerg already has Lurkers, and you have to spend that money on Observers, in addition to getting Dragoons, that's painful. And then he keeps bringing these High Templar up here, or these Hydra up here, and morphing them into Lurkers and forcing Stork to spend 1 storm at a time. That's just astonishingly efficient here. Like, Stork has these 4 Templar, but they're not useful. And yeah, okay, Lurkers burrow. Those Zealots are going nowhere. No harass possible at the moment for Stork. And Stork now is finally starting to hit his macro stride. We do see that supply rising, but Stork's army with this 1 gas is going to be very Zealot heavy. And, well, Zealot heavy armies don't fight Lurkers, especially not Hydra Lurk, very efficiently here. Stork is running in, throwing down a few storms, but, you know, the second those Lurks burrow, Stork needs to move back. And there's even some Scourge out here for Sacsri to pick off an Observer. Now, Stork is actually trying to dive on that Overlord a little bit with those Dragoons, because if you get rid of that Overlord, well, then you don't have to worry about the Observer dying, and that is a hell of a comfort, especially when you are as gas-starved as Stork is right now. And we can see Stork is setting up the 3rd base, so the danger here now is that with this not so good... Oh, this is a surprise to see. So a muted transition here from Sacsri. This could be absolutely devastating. Oh, we're going to drop with this? Alright, this is just all over the place. I don't even know what's going on right now. So he's dropping. I thought he was just going to use that, pick off the Templar, and then let his Lurker army be really strong. But now he's going to force Stork back. This is not a fake. There's a lot of Hydra in here. There's 1 Templar. Oh, Stork is actually going to crush this drop. Should crush this drop. Although he's still got 1 storm there, but with 2 or 3 cannons there, all he has to do is land 1 good storm and bring his army back. Yeah, that's softened up most of the Hydra's. Army's back, so the actual damage from the drop is minimum, and the fact that Stork has snuck some Zealots over here is very nice. He's going to get the hatchery. I'm pretty sure if you focus it, even though there are a lot of Muta are not the fastest Zealot killers in the world, and that's putting it very gently. But actually, Stork backs off from the hatchery, and this might just allow it to live. It's going to survive by the skin of its teeth. A beautiful save by Sacsri. If Stork would not have pulled those Zealots and hesitated, he would have gotten that hatchery. The hesitation costing Stork badly here. And Sacsri now with a pretty scary army out on the map. Remember, he still has those Lurkers. And remember, Stork has still been pretty badly gas-starved. And, of course, that also means low Corsair counts, low Dragoon counts. And all of that adds up to some very effective Muta. You know, when you're playing Muta Switch to pick off High Templars, it's obviously if Protoss has Corsairs, it's very, very possible for Protoss to defend their Templar. And if Protoss has a big, meaty 4 control group Protoss army that's heavy in Dragoons, it's also pretty easy for Protoss to defend their Templar if they're a little bit careful. But when you've got 6 or even just a control group of Dragoons, that's not enough DPS. The Muta just fly in and go to town on the Templar. So Stork has 1 Corsair in there, which is helpful, but it's whatever. And then this base is totally exposed to the Mutalisks as well. Did Stork see him? He might have, but there's no guarantee he did. And of course, Sacsri's now got 4 bases to play on, so he's happy with where he's sitting, and he's actually sitting at a 20 supply advantage, which that should also tell you something about just how happy he's sitting. 20 supply advantage is a lot. Muta coming back to rest the main, and you can see the supply advantage is, whoa, what a beautiful Muta shot. Did you guys see the range? Looked like a Muta was like a Goliath for a second. He's like, I'm gonna pick up some Terran abilities. Oh, Stork, stop it. That's so sloppy. He's gonna lose his Corsairs. I know he's microing on 2 fronts, but he loses both of his Corsairs, and now the Muta are licking their lips at the prospect of exposed Templar at the back of Stork's army. Now Stork is wisely staying near his cannons and just patrolling around, but now all that has to happen is these Muta just need to come in here and pick off these Templar. He's trying to come forward for a pre-storm, trying to catch the Mutas unaware, but it doesn't pan out, so he gets a total whiff off of Storm 1, and our commentators are zooming out here. Good initial split there by Sacsri, although he does kind of run back into the Storm. Stork has a lot of army here, though. It looks like it's going to force Sacsri back, and Sacsri not quite willing to go dive in there on those goons for that Templar. He definitely could kill the Templar if he wanted, but it doesn't seem like he wants to commit to that yet. Take this much damage on the Muta, deciding that army is a little too large to take on right here. And notice they're showing us the hatchery rally point. We're at 8 or 9 hatches. That is more hatches than Stork has gateways. You're shivering with discomfort as a Protoss in this situation, just feeling Zerg. Like, Stork is in this position right now where he's just feeling Sacsri grow, but he's being pulled every which way. He has to go back and defend, drops in the main, and he knows that Sacsri is growing. We have a yellow dot. It might just be an observer over that bottom right base of Sacsri. Our obs is not picking it up what that is. I don't know what it is. Whatever it was died. I don't think it did any major damage. I didn't see any major supply dropping for Sacsri there. Perhaps he was trying to sneak a DT in or something and go back for the hatchery kill there. I wish we would have gotten vision. It might have just been an obs though. But I mean, oh man, like think about this. As Stork, like this Zerg is just growing and growing, and you're stuck here on 3 bases. Whoa, holy shit, what the hell just happened? I don't know. Well, we're back. That was startling. But you can't do anything about it. And now we have a bunch of wings out. That's usually a signal that Zerg is at hive. I don't think we've actually panned back. Stork or Sacsri continuing to pick off Stork's army, and Stork's army through it all 1 high Templar. And oh, we got a Ling counterattack, so again Stork has to scramble back. He has just not been able to apply any pressure to Sacsri, and that allows the Zerg player to just grow and grow, you know, undeterred. And, you know, you can see it. Just look at all these units from Sacsri. Look at the supply difference. Sacsri is on his way to rolling over Stork. Now the Muta want that Templar. They're going back in the backfield looking for it. We're not going to see that, but I think the Muta probably got it. So coming in and hunting. And, of course, Sacsri's maxed on Hive, which means he can just start throwing units at Stork. And, I mean, what is Stork going to do? He's been defending all game long while Sacsri just gets 5 bases and Hive, and Defilers are about to be out. You know, Sacsri's been doing a nice job. He hasn't been forcing anything. He's just been kind of picking at the army and saying, you know what, if you're on 3 bases, if I got 4 or 5, I'm going to Hive. I don't care. You have your 3 bases. You do what you want to do. I'm just going to get maxed out, grab some Defilers, make some cracklings, and just throw 200 Zerg at you here and watch you whittle down as your bases mine out. So Lurkers burrowing, zoning Stork out, and I mean, Stork just cannot get out on the map. It almost feels like we're watching a TVT here, the way neither player can really commit to a battle, and the way Stork just can't get on the map. It's just like Sacsri has him shut down from any position. Stork just feeling so dead right now. I mean, he's going to try to take a 4th base. And we'll see if Stork trying to take this 4th base ends up being the trigger, because I feel like Stork is probably not going to attack Sacsri. He almost can't. Like, he's running in a bunch of Zealots here. Wow, he's going to lose a control group of Zealots almost immediately. They're going to do absolutely nothing, attacking totally the wrong units. There's probably, no, there's actually just a High Templar escort in that shuttle. I was hoping there would at least be a few Reavers to lend something to this position. but, you know, it's like a group and a half of Dragoons. And a bunch of Zerg units moving up the other side. It's either an attack on the third base, or it's going to be a flank. But Stork is retreating everything back to his third base. And will Sacsri move those lurkers forward, or will he just use this moment to send some stuff over to the fourth base of Stork? I don't know. I mean, right now it's just Lings trickling in. Stork's army can deal with that. It looks like this is actually a distraction, perhaps, to drop the main, but Lurker or Lings sneaking into the fourth base, shutting down the cannons, and I think we've got to be close to GG here. Even if there's not units in this drop, but it looks like there are, so the cannons in the main immediately falling. The fourth base is shut down. Stork just doesn't know what to do with himself right now. High Templar spawning out of the gateways are falling. Those were critical for some Archons or Hive units. It looks like Stork is just kind of saying, well, my main's dead, I'm going to move out on the map. So I think we're going to see Stork attack with this army. Watch this army get crushed and see Stork type GG as Sacsri comes out with an impressive win here. The remnants of Stork's army will fall. The Zealots will melt here to the initial lurkers, and that'll leave only Dragoons and a few Zealots. There should be Defilers of Storm. Actually, Stork is going to pull back, but remember, his main is gone. He's getting an Archon picked off. Actually, Sacsri is not killing his gateways. I don't know if this is like kind of a celebration, or if this is just Sacsri's taking this attack by Stork very, very seriously and just making sure he doesn't fuck it up. We got storms going down now, so the Dragoons have just become wholly useless, and all there is left is a few storms here under that, and a couple Zealots, but Zealots are not going to break positions with a bunch of entranced lurkers. Defiler goes back to consume a few more Lings, reestablish his position, getting a beautiful spread on those lurkers to minimize the storm damage, and now these Zealots are out, and it's Hive Lings against Goons under Swarm. No more Archons left in the composition. There it is, folks. GG. Stork falls to Sacsri, letting him down and giving PicUP their first victory of the night, which they desperately needed because they were, you know, I mean, it looked like Stork was the favored player there and was going to get a win. Sacsri's pretty excited about that. That is Sacsri, right? He's like, ooh, do you see that passion? You can see it in his eyes. He's not quite teary-eyed, but like, he's feeling it. Oh, wow. The enthusiasm right there. Sacsri is hyped. Very one-sided, but very well-played game by Sacsri to take out Dinotoss. And I think now we get the good game. The game we've all been waiting for, if I remember correctly. Wait, PicUP lost? Oh, well, okay, I saw that wrong. My bad. Alright, so Afreeca's up 3-0. Never mind.
이거를 그러면 윤찬이 선수한테 넘겨야 되는 건데 부담이 너무 큰데요. 위에 최근에 떠오르는 라이징 스타, 박상현, 짭제동 그리고 가장 믿을 만한 미들맨. 6경기 이긴 다음에
Well, as long as effort versus sharp is not game 5, and Afreeca wins game 4, then I would be very angry. Our quote-unquote big match better be this coming match. 0 goes to Korean symbol.
모든 관심이 나한테 왔다. 개인 방송으로 이렇게 성공을 하려면 맞습니다. 이런 상황은 본인에게 몇 번 오지 않는 굉장히 좋은 기회. 시청자 수를 고정 시청자를 좀 더 늘릴 수 있는 이 좋은 기회에서 긴장하기보다는 한번 발휘해야죠.
Yeah, Stork really did have a PvT unit comp, and I think one of those things it all goes back to was the combination of basically what happened with the harass of Sacsri at the natural for Stork, right? Because not only did Sacsri get some lurkers up there, and a lurker up there means that the gas probes die immediately. So the gas probes died. Stork couldn't put probes on gas, and it actually killed his gas. So he was reduced to 1 gas. He didn't have an ob out yet. So he has to get an ob. Like, that's necessary. And that costs a lot of gas. And then there's lurkers on the field, so he has to get Dragoons. Well, you can't get Obs, Dragoons, and Templar. Now, he had already made 4 Templar, but he was continually having to burn Storms. And when you take all that together, it just gave Stork an army that was absolutely useless against the lurkers that were in Sacsri's army. You know, if that Zealot counter would have killed that base, some things like that, that can maybe start to turn the tide, but those lurker drops at the beginning, particularly there at the natural, I think were pretty game determining for Sacsri.
가장 핫한 테란 중에 한 명이고 또 이영호 선수가 최근에 인정하는 테란 중에 한 명으로 그렇게 잘 자라면서
And from what we saw, no real execution mistakes from Sacsri, no real blunders, just took his advantage and textbook capitalized on it.
최근에 이런 스타판을 뒤바꿀 수 있는 힘이 생기는 거죠.
맞습니다. 예. 자, 일단 여러분들 광고 한번 보고 가도록 하겠습니다. 신한근육 투자가 광고를 많이 해야 돼요.
광고가 있어야 이런 대회가 있고요.
그렇죠.
또 광고를
And yeah, you're right. There is Mong versus Jaehoon.
또 다음 대회가
So whoever team
이건 선수란이에요. 당연한 거예요.
맞습니다.
is
광고
pick up,
한번
better
보고
win.
가도록 하겠습니다.
Well, we get the dancing guy.
럭키박스 하면 테슬라도 준대요.
I'll sub in for dancing guy.
굉장히 짧아요. 아니 이렇게 보통은 저는 이제
네네네.
중계를 할 때 쉬는 시간이면 화장실 간다거나 예를 들면 뭐 다른 뭐 사원들 있잖아요. 여기는 보면 스파르타식이에요.
없어요. 이게 전영준가 캐스터가 아니라
그 시기에서 제가 많이 했었죠.
엄재경 해설위원이
그때도 그렇게 했어요?
여기 왜 쉬는 시간이 없냐?
그럴 거예요. 왜냐면 힘드실 텐데.
엄재경 해설위원이
네.
여기 언제 쉬어요? 이러면서.
저는 아직 그래도 30대니까 괜찮거든요.
네네네네네네. 근데 이게 또 중요한 거는 제가 좀 약간 생각을 해봤을 때 이게 더블 헤더가 있어요.
I already showed it on stream. It's just my chips. A bag of chips. A bag of unhealthiness. A bag of atherosclerosis.
왜냐면 명경기들이 그때는 이제 저기 더블 헤더가 이영호 선수가 김민중 선수 정지적 잡아 그런 명경기들이 투출해가지고 강빈 해설이 목이 나갔었어요. 네, 그리고 에이스 결정전 두 번 갔었거든요. 죽었었어요.
그렇죠.
네, 새벽 2시에 끝났습니다.
정말 즐거울 수는 있겠지만 새벽 2시만큼은 약간 좀 사람으로서 인간적으로 좀 피하고 싶은 그런 상황인데 물론 명경기가 나온다면 그것 또한 경험을 봄직한
Alright, so we're approaching Mong versus Jaehoon.
그러니까 목이 갈라졌다니까.
갈 정도로.
네, 목이 완전 갈라져가지고 그렇게 됐었는데 자 일단은
Snack Pro League, yeah. It's a competition of who can eat the most snacks.
이지동 선수, 이지호 선수가 자리 잡고 있는
I feel inspired by these, what do you call them, that were or are popular. The, is it mukbang or something that's the word? For like the stream where you like stream yourself eating some kind of feast and like talking to your viewers. I think that's called mukbang.
그다음에 이봉규 선수 이렇게 자리 잡고 있고요. 그리고 신한금융투자 같은 경우에는 이영호 선수. 좀 약간 투펀치가 조금 아쉽긴 하지만 연보성 선수까지.
연보성 선수 요즘 그렇게 떨어진 거죠?
연보성 선수가 게임을 좀 잘 안 하다 보니까
그렇죠. 거의 좀 안 하고 아무래도 좀 이제 보라 뭐 많이 한다.
맞습니다.
이런 얘기 저도 이제 얼추 본 적이 있었는데 그래도 워낙 좀 재능이 좀 기본적으로 좀 탁월한 친구라서.
오 아시네요.
옛날부터 좀 그랬어요.
옛날부터 그랬나요?
네.
그 선수?
그렇죠. 그러니까 연봉이 아주 좀 직결되는 프로리그를 잘했잖아요. 왜냐면 저희 때는 그 프로리그 잘해야 연봉 많이 주잖아요.
맞습니다.
개인 리그보다
없습니다. 필요 없습니다.
프로리그를 잘해야 연봉을 많이 주는데
네네네네.
기가 막히게 프로리그 하나만큼은 잘해서 그리고 이제 연봉 선수가 재밌는 게 프로리그 때 되게 잘했잖아요.
네.
모든 사람들이
Alright, panning back. Panning back. My chat like died. I had to revive it. So if some stuff was said in the last minute, I apologize for not seeing it.
이런 와중에 경기 준비가 완료가 됐네요. 정말 김정민 해설위원님이 여기 감전도 스튜디오에 와주시면서 NPSC가 열리게 됐는데 전 정말 5경기 6경기까지 보고 싶습니다. 과연 윤찬희 선수가 그렇게 해낼 것인지 4경기 경기
Alright, they're getting hyped. I think it's
시작하겠습니다.
time. Jaehoon versus Mong.
Next up, Mong. AfreecaTV. Jaehoon. Round 4.
Mong beating his chest. I love it. Alright, Grand Line is the map. So, in the bottom right-hand position of the map, as the Purple Terran, we have Mong, who his name literally looked like Mondragon, and I was like, what? Anyway, and in the top right-hand corner, as the red Protoss, we have, well, I can't recall who we have.
김재훈 선수입니다.
김재훈 선수의 기본기 자체도 상당히 좀 좋은 선수고, 근데 전반적인 또
All right, who is on Africa? Who am I rooting against here? Hook me up, boys. Africa is Jaehoon. I usually like to root for Hoon, but all right, Hoon is the enemy, boys. Hoon is the enemy, boys. Because if Hoon wins, we don't get effort versus Sharp. So
전설의 게임이죠.
sorry, Jaehoon. I don't mean this personally, but fuck Jaehoon.
야, 몰스패를 당했습니다. 한번 나와서.
We need a Mong victory out of this.
못 나왔습니다.
처음이자 마지막이에요.
예, 처음이자 마지막.
그래서 PP만을 남기고 그냥 사라졌죠.
그리고 어디로 사라졌냐? 바로 아프리카 TV로.
Yeah, Jaehoon. There's a famous joke about Jaehoon and can't recall. He was known for having some notable bad recalls. So the joke was that Jaehoon can't recall.
그래서 자기 목소리 해냈어요.
그렇죠.
해냈고 특히나 최고의 명장면. 버뮤다.
버뮤다는
아니 이 지역에는 뭔가 병력이 그냥 중간에 사라지는 이런 느낌을 좀 보여주면서 많은 사람들로 하여금.
So I want Jaehoon to one gate triple nets, and I want Mong to just blind, skip Academy, skip eBay, and just 4-fact blind.
실수해서 리콜을 여기에 능선이 있으면 여기서 여기 오른쪽으로 이동했어요. 리콜로. 어쩌다가 아니라
If Jaehoon wins this, Caster is gonna rage and be very sad. He wants his ASL preview.
바로 김재훈 리콜이다.
Sorry, KSL preview.
김재훈 리콜. 정말 전설이었죠.
두 선수 다 전설이에요.
나는
전설이다.
네, 그렇죠.
I'm sure Artosis does too. I think Artosis likes Sharp.
성공시키면서 좋은 상황 만들고 있는데 김재훈 선수의 좀 장점 하나 말씀드리고 싶은 게 프로브 컨트롤이 진짜 잘해요.
프로브 컨트롤과 소스권 잘하는 선수들이
Gotta see how he fares versus effort. If he can make a game out of it. Or maybe win. Oh, that's blasphemous. I'm an effort fan, so I can't really admit to myself that Sharp could possibly beat effort. That would just not be. Oh, he's very, very close to a probe kill, but the SCB kill, but the repair is legit. So Mong's doing work, boys. Keeping the SCB alive.
첫 번째 서치하면서 몽군 선수 입장에서는 왜 이렇게 서치가 빨라? 센터 게이트 좀 약간 의심되는데 하고 센터 갔다가 지금 한시에 가는 그런 상황이고요.
Man, all I think about when I see Grand Line is TVZ. I think of an incredibly fantastic Flash vs. Jaehoon game that was on this map that went almost to mined out situations. And I also think of the absolute perfection of Flash, sad as it makes me. I'm also a heavy Sulky fanboy. Ever since he broke out by all killing we made, and like one of his first pro appearances ever, he just reversed all kills, including like whipping light and stuff. Mong's gonna FD. We got one on gas, or maybe do this 3 Marine, 4 Marine expand thing. But there was a Flash for Sulky game. I believe Flash was top left, Sulky was bottom left, and Sulky went for 3 hatch lurk, and Flash just did regular bio, and Flash won the game, which is not so surprising. What is more surprising is that Flash did not lose a single unit. As a Sulky fan, it was extremely painful to watch. It was extremely painful to watch, but it was beautiful, as much as it hurts me to say that. Because Flash didn't lose a single unit. He just, like, Sulky would move his lurkers and lings forward, and Flash just perfectly target fired down a lurker, and then perfectly target fire, and it was just the ultimate dismantling of control I've seen. Alright, let's see if, Jaehoon is paying attention. Is Mong paying attention? Okay, so Mong is gonna, ooh, that was a very cute assassination there. Gonna pick off the probe, no chance for that to get in. And, Jaehoon is trying to block. Come on, Mong, get in, boy, get in. Okay, so Mong sees... Well, he sees a gateway. Our observer didn't really show us if he saw anything else. And of course he saw there was an expansion, so... He's got a pretty good... Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that's a pretty fast second factory. Baby. Fact CC fact. Fact CC fact is... Jaehoon, don't make a Reaver. Don't do it. Fact CC fact's kind of a scary build to hold as a Protoss, especially if you go with OBS. I'm getting excited. Oh, was it WCG Korea that was that game, Blind Rar? Come on, don't make a Reaver. Oh, this is... okay, well, he did make 3 gates fast. Still, Fact CC Fact is kind of a scary build. Although this isn't exactly Fact. Well, yeah, I guess it is Fact CC Fact. At first I didn't see a tank. I thought he did the hold for an expansion thing. I was like, oh, that'll influence the unit counts. But this looks normal. This looks normal. This is definitely going to require crisp micro from Jaehoon. If the micro isn't good, Mong will walk over him. Oh, Mong just a smidge early on his SCV transfer because they were all holding minerals. So after making his SCVs turn in their homework, Mong adjusts all his mining and grabbing out a few units here, and he's even getting a few mines out here, making sure that Jaehoon can't spread out, and Mong now out on the map. Interestingly transitioning to a starport. Oh, Mong, draw those goons away. Draw those goons away. Although this doesn't actually look that scary right now for Mong, with just 2 takes. Although Jaehoon very spread out, but it won't take Jaehoon long to reposition his goons. Especially given the direction of his natural. Alright, so Mong's running in here. He's got the other Vulture too, remember, up there. The 2 tanks coming in. Now Jaehoon has made 3 gateways, and he should have an obs coming, so that'll be good for dealing with the mines. And now Mong just pressing forward. That's actually a lot of Dragoons, though. I think Jaehoon is fine. Well, maybe if Mong sieges up or something like that. We'll see how it goes. He's going to come in here with the micro. The pylons are actually kind of working against Jaehoon right now, because they are allowing Mong to sort of pin him down. And, of course, Jaehoon has excellent vision of this. Jaehoon's just the way he's moving back and forward with his Dragoons. Alright, I'll get over myself. Oh wow, that was some pretty decent micro there. He's sniping off most of the mines, but the tanks are getting off a few shots. Vulture's moving forward to aggressively lay mines here, and now Mong getting off a few hits, pushing these Dragoons back into the natural. Vulture coming up rallied, and these mines are just allowing the tanks to keep getting hits off on the Dragoons, but off of 3 gates, it appears Jaehoon is going to be able to mass enough to force Mong to retreat. So Mong tries, can't get anything done. So for the moment, Jaehoon is okay, but oh, what a beautiful scout. Observer, you didn't need to be there right then. You really didn't need to be there right then. Okay, so Mong is committing to, I hope it's just a tank and 2 Vulture, not a double tank drop, because a spotted double tank drop is never going to do any damage. But with the positioning that Jaehoon has right now, this drop is never going to do any damage. I mean, unless Jaehoon just AFK'd, but yeah, Jaehoon's all over this. Oh, he's target firing. Okay, well, very well handled by Jaehoon. Tip of the cap there. Kind of stupid by Mong. Those Dragoons were in perfect position, and Mong still went for it. So Mong throws away some units, and now Jaehoon's sitting on a comfortable supply. Is that double Stargates? Double Stargates? Are we going carrier? We're definitely taking a 3rd base here for Jaehoon. Mong getting his minerals all the way down to 19. So Mong is macroing his heart out. He's getting up a turret. Jaehoon is loading up his shuttle, though, with Vultures for bombing. Really want to see if that's double Stargate, and if there's, like, a fleet beacon. And Academy here for Mong. So he will eventually have some scanners, and of course Terrans are liking to get those scanners quite a bit faster, just to be able to scan that Protoss tech and see what is going on, because getting surprised by carriers or really fast. All right, okay, so it is indeed double Stargate, and it is going to be carrier here from Jaehoon. And he's got a comfortable advantage. Mong is sitting on 2 bases. He's got 3 factories. Where's his armories? Okay, so he's working on an upgrade, and he's going to command center, so Mong is just going to have to accept that carriers are coming and sit back and deal with those. Certainly with just 3 facts and investments in CCs and armories and such things. Nice probe pick off there. Mong will not have any option to do like a pre-carrier timing. And okay, so Jaehoon decided to come in here with a Reaver and be obnoxious, you could say, channeling a little bit of his inner Bonth, as that was basically kind of ish to Reaver into carrier if I really try to stretch it to make it sound like Bonth. I'm really stretching the truth here, but, you know, I want to say Jaehoon is learning from Bonth because it sounds cool to have Koreans learning from foreign players. Alright, so some nice Dragoon positioning here from Jaehoon. Jaehoon, can you stop looking like you've improved so much? This is really frustrating right now. But I mean, you can't complain about anything Jaehoon is doing. You know, he's got Mong pinned back. His control was good. The Reaver harass, nothing special, but nothing bad. And now he can be annoying with his Reaver if he picks it up, which he does. He's getting his third base up. He's getting his carriers. Mong doesn't really have any options, so Mong's going to have to play long game against carriers. Now he has a scanner. Jaehoon didn't build the carriers anywhere sneaky. Mong's going to know it's carriers. So that part, not a huge deal. I can't imagine Mong hasn't. Oh, no, Mong. Oh, my God. Okay. If you catch a transfer like that, that's so juicy. But Mong, Jaehoon targets something different, and Mong's SCVs are arriving slightly in separate categories. First set of 2 carriers out here for Jaehoon. So Jaehoon should be able to get out probably 6 carriers before Mong can push. Mong might do some early supply thing, but realistically Jaehoon's going to have 6 or 8 carriers before Mong gets to his 2-1 max push here. And I mean, Jaehoon is macroing pretty hard, including investing in carriers. He's already 150 supply at 1130. He should max around 1230 with quite a few carriers. That's a pretty fast max. Especially considering Jaehoon went for 3 factories, or three gateways, and kind of delayed his third. Like, he's on path to some pretty serious supply here. And Mong, on the other hand, is not supplying up all that fast. Very slow third, all things considered. Alright, so Mong is actually going to try to push out here. Now this is he? I mean, that is interesting. There's no way he has second attack. Does he even have 1 attack? Now, the one thing that's good is there's only 2 carriers out, and there are a decent number of Goliaths, so Goliaths can deal with 2 carriers pretty easily. Getting across these bridges, though, on the other hand, that's going to be a little tricky. Especially with a Reaver there. Oh, God. Yeah, Mong is going to have to move up here onto the high ground. Now, it looks like Jaehoon is not going to be able to catch him on the low ground, so that part is nice for Mong. And, alright, so moving forward. Oh, well, okay. Goliath's getting up a couple shots, but they're unable to pick off the shuttle. But Jaehoon is doing a magnificent job slowing Mong. And, of course, we see that second set of carriers popping now. And, of course, Jaehoon was working on investing in that 4th base island nexus over there on the right-hand side of the map. And Mong working his way up to, what, like 7 or 8 factories. But, again, you know, Jaehoon is going to have plenty of carriers out by the time Mong gets here. We'll be able to get out 6 before anything happens. And, you know, 4 is a decent number. You start being able to do some stuff with 4. 6 is just where they become quite nightmarish. They pick off Goliaths very easily with their interceptor counts. They can start threatening buildings, particularly CCs, with quick deaths. The threat of carrier backstab goes up a lot. All that kind of stuff. You know, 2 carriers is kind of like 2 battlecruisers in TVZ. Like, yeah, they're annoying. You gotta send a lot of Scourge at them. They cost gas. But they don't make you go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But the carriers are a little far away from the army right now. Not terribly far, but a little bit far. And Mong gets a nice siege up here. He's right at the edge of the high ground, so he's got very good positioning. Definitely not the kind of position where Jaehoon could engage him yet. But we see Jaehoon has a pretty beefy ground force, getting a nice carrier pick off there. Jaehoon, I'm assuming, is not going to pick this as a fight. I don't know what Jaehoon is doing here. This is really, really... Well, I guess the only word for that is sloppy by Jaehoon. I thought I was gonna say really, really aggressive, but no reason to go up there. He decides, oh, that was a sick pickoff from was the Reaver that low on health? Now Jaehoon is, I mean, Mong is a little reluctant to come down from the high ground, understandably, but Jaehoon is getting pushed back now pretty far, and he's gonna be attacking into a little bit of a choke. But oh man, Mong's tank count is so low. That's a lot of zealots. And a lot of Goliaths in this army. It's not very vulture heavy, so I feel like these zealots are just going to dive on top of the tanks here, and of course all the Goliaths are going to be tied up shooting the interceptors, and Jaehoon cleans this army up very, very easily. Mong obviously not losing any of his carriers, and I feel like we are getting very much deprived of sharp versus effort as this happens. Now Mong is taking a 4th base over the other side of the map, which is good, but I mean that was pretty textbook and clinical. Only 8 tanks in that army for Mong, which just is not a high enough tank count. Protoss ground can do plenty of things, and now Jaehoon can come over here and harass with these carriers. Now the Goliaths are already in position for Mong, so he's going to go to town on those interceptors. Now the one good thing here is the base count for both players is reasonably close. Jaehoon does have a 4th established. Mong is in the process of establishing a 4th. Jaehoon hasn't yet moved to consume the map yet, and Mong does have 8 factories, so he does have some pretty good macro. But of course, with that 3rd base and that being all Mong has, he doesn't really have the money to make like 3 shop tanks plus a bunch of Goliaths. It's just not quite enough there. He can make 2 and some Goliaths, but it's going to keep his tank count really low. And it's just this tenuous balancing act between ground army and having tanks. And this army, I don't know what Mong is doing here. He's got 0... Okay, he's got a couple tanks back there, but he's got to move back because, I mean, the interceptors being out will draw all the Goliath fire, which means the ground army goes completely uncontested. You can't fight without tanks to support and kill the Dragoons. It just won't work at all. Alright, so Mong is actually double expanding behind this, so this part is good for Mong. If he can keep Jaehoon and force Jaehoon to fight in the middle of the map, and Mong can get a few more gases and control half the map and start building turrets and stuff, that's all great stuff for Mong. Interesting Archon there from Jaehoon. Jaehoon a bit late on probe transfers. We see a bunch just kind of chilling in the main, and it looks like Hoon wants to swing around to the other side, but Mong in position here, and Mong is kind of setting up a defensive split map-esque feel. He's moving forward for an EMP. He's going to draw the carrier fire there, but now the Zealot's coming in here, and again, tank count is extremely low here for Mong. He just doesn't have an... Oh my god, what a terrible engagement for Mong. Do you see that? That's like 6 or 7 vultures. Those are supposed to fight Zealots, not Dragoons, and this goes all kinds of wrong ways, and 50 supply advantage. Hoon here coming in. Only 2 Goliath carriers are picked off. Is Mong about to get rolled over? The Goliaths are coming in from the backside, but all the carriers have to do is throw out their interceptors and just dance around, and then the Dragoons will clean up the Goliaths while they don't even fight. And the natural of Mong completely exposed here. Now, there are a few turrets, but this is so much Protoss ground right all up in Mong's natural. You know Mong is sweating bullets right now as he tries to defend. I mean, if carriers gain position over those factories, it's GG, and they've got goon support to do it now. Mong is cleaning up the Dragoons there kind of in the middle of the map, trying to slow down those reinforcements, but the carriers are more or less over the factories, which means the goons could walk up the ramp. Mong has to pull the SCVs here as he tries to hold, and that reinforcement for Protoss is scary, especially with 3 Templars in it. Now, if those mines would have gone off, that would have been helpful, but they are not going to go off. Now, a few more Goliaths coming up here, trying to link up, trying to chase the carriers away, but the natural is completely exposed. The mining is still okay for Mong, but the supply for Mong is an absolute train wreck. There's just barely a control group out on the map. You know 60 or so of that supply is in SCVs, and Mong dances forward, is trying to chase those carriers back, but, you know, Hoon is still macroing away. Hoon is... Well, no, it looks like he's still mining from 3 bases. His natural should be very, very low, and at some point Hoon is going to have to swing away. He was unable to break the natural here. So at some point Hoon is going to have to swing away from that. I think he might keep bludgeoning it, but I feel like Mong could get very defensive. And if he does that, if he just gets really defensive, Hoon can't break him. Now, maybe if Mong keeps playing like this, Hoon can break him, especially with all these storms here. Whoa, Mong, chill. That's like 10 or 12 Dragoons and High Templar. You can't go diving on the carriers, and so Mong is overextending here. He's trying very hard to get shots on the carriers, but it's not what he needs to do in this situation, so he's getting overrun yet again, and this time I don't think he's recovering from it. 100 minerals, yeah, he's got some factories producing, but this time Protoss is walking up the ramp. There's like 1 turret to stop the carriers. Position over the factories is gained for Jaehoon. And, well, guys, it's going to be a 4-0 night. Effort versus Sharp is not happening. Damn it, Jaehoon. Damn it, Mong. Jaehoon, why do you have to be so good? Mong, why do you have to be so bad? Have so few tanks. Gah. Bah. Oh well, congrats. I mean, it was well played by Jaehoon. I I can't really complain about what Jaehoon did,
오늘 경기 준비한 느낌으로 이거
especially because I'm not a Terran player.
라는 생각이 들 정도로
I'm sure a Terran player could complain hardcore about what Jaehoon did.
조기석 선수가 나오지도 않았는데
But as someone that's not a Terran player, I can't fault him. It just Mong didn't have enough tanks, and then that second engagement by Mong. I mean, you saw the observer tab over to that,
기본기 자체가 다
and there were like 10 vultures fighting dragoons. They were just so out of position as his army was wrecked by those zealots. Like, put 10 vultures in position, good chance Mong doesn't die. Good chance Mong doesn't die. Certainly the fight goes kind of even Stevens. Alas. Can we just have a bonus effort versus sharp match anyway? Yeah, that drop wasn't too great either. That drop wasn't too great either. That kind of set the tone for him. He had to spend a lot of time on just 2 gases, so he wasn't really able to make a composition they would have liked to make.
앞마당 4로보틱스 온리 리버 파워업 리버 이거는 또
I'm just gonna sit here and watch this and like hope that effort versus sharp is still played, even though I know it's not gonna be played. Just give us the damn bonus game, Brittany. Do it for the fans. Do it for the love. I'm feeling deprived right now. I got up at 4 a.m. to cast this, and I'm not even gonna get the hype game.
총 MVP로 뽑히게 되거든요. 그 선수가 바로 이제 NPL 시즌 1 때 조기석 선수였어요. 그렇기 때문에 MVP를 좀 뽑아주면 누가 좀 있을까요?
저는 2명이에요. 네, 장윤철 이해훈.
But strong showing for Africa.
이렇게 팀에서
So it is gonna be AfreecaTV moving on